Hi, my name is Adam Marino. I am a principal at Kinsner Elementary School in Strongsville, and I'm making this video in hopes to capture and share some of the images and some of the things that took place in my building and in the district, and how these images apply to Universal Design for Learning guidelines. Some of the guidelines that I'll be referring to, I'm going to use this sheet here. This is from CAST website, www.cast.org. I believe this is their newest, most updated published UDL guidelines, or published in early 2018. And I'll be referring, when I'm looking at different images here, I'll be referring to some of these checkpoint numbers and how they relate to the images. So first image is the classic 100 day of school. I think probably most elementary school teachers celebrate some version of 100 day of school. And so what makes this, I believe, applied to the UDL guidelines is 7.2 is optimizing relevance, value, and authenticity, is that the teacher took pictures of the students through an app on their phone, which makes them look like 100 years old. And so when the students see their 100-year-old face staring back at them as they're writing their prompt of what life will be like when they're 100, really they were excited about it, and it really increased and optimized the authenticity for that particular assignment. Here in this particular images, we have some flexible seating options. We got some pads for seats. We have floor desks. And then in this image, we have some, again, multiple different seating options. And, this could be related, and you can look at any image and apply probably lots of guidelines. So I'm not going to go through them all, but the first couple that pop in my head is they're optimizing individual choice and autonomy at 7.1. Students, and depending on the setting, can pick their seat that they can learn the best. And then 9.2, I think when you have flexible seating options, especially in primary grades, it really helps facilitate personal coping skills and strategies. In this example here, we have, I think, a great example of multiple means of representation. The objective here is for students to learn about elapsed time. And so this teacher here represented elapsed time. We have a clock on a smart board. We have I think it's called a Judy clock in her hand. You can't really see it here. Let me get out of the way. So we have, students have clocks at their seat they can manipulate, and we have a worksheet with clocks with blank hands. And so what this teacher did to really represent elapsed time in multiple different ways, I'm thinking of 1.1, is customizing the display of information. Students can certainly customize whichever way they learn best. We could, 1.3 is offer alternatives for visual information. So visually, the students can, again, gravitate. They'll probably be focused more on, some of them are going to be looking up here, some are going to be listening to her, some are going to be looking at their desk. I think it's a great way, to illustrate this topic through multimedia, which even be 2.5. And here, this example, we have, I think this assignment here, follow along with me, we have a game board on a smart board, and then you can see here that students are working together. So when students are working together, that could certainly increase engagement with 8.3, foster collaboration and community. That's certainly an aspect of learning to help students be more engaged. And then I think there's really, they're basically learning about context clues, and they had a game between the greatest race and escape room. They had to move across this playing board, and that helps with the relevance of this type of activity. And context clues can be kind of boring for some people, myself included. So when you gamify it and work together, it definitely makes it more engaging. In this particular example, we have, after reading a story, the students have to answer questions, and so they all had to kind of answer the same questions, but they could do it in different ways. They could write it here on this worksheet, they could draw it, or they'd even talk about it. So depending on your learners, we have some internal processors that might prefer this method. We have some external processors that might prefer this method. And then, the students can then gravitate to which learning style or which way they want to express what they know in different ways. So I think 4.1 really hits that, as they're varying the methods for response in navigation for this particular assignment. Right here, we have learning place value. So again, this is guiding information processing through manipulation, which would be 3.3. And they're learning place value by building it, by drawing it, or by writing it. Another way, another example, another picture here, we have dry erase markers, pencil, paper, and then learning letters or numbers. I guess that could be a 2 or a Z. They're learning that through manipulation, which is 3.3. Another image, same thing, through manipulation. We got wiki sticks to learn letters. We got learning letters through sign language, and we got learning letters through stamps. Here we have multiple means of representing 2D and 3D shapes. Again, we can use existing shapes. They can draw the shapes. They can create the shapes using the materials that they have in their classroom. And so, you know, we have lots of different images that we've used over, you know, through the school year. And it's kind of cool to look at an image and then try and apply it to the guidelines. And you can play different games with staff and teachers or teams and departments and how they apply, all with the premise of, you know, let's get to know these guidelines better. Let's understand them, and then, you know, the images help for tangible examples of how you can use them in the classroom. And so we've even done it this way, where we've had pictures, and then we've had a little description of what the pictures, what the setup is of this classroom, and then let's find the ways, all the checkpoints you can find that this particular assignment was designed for. So thanks for listening.